everyone, it's your girl Superwoman. Oh, sorry, I'm just kidding. I know just because we are brown doesn't mean we look alike. Alright, that was a horrible accent, but you know, I tried. But we are going to talk about her. Hello everyone, and thank you so much for tuning back in. I am so excited for today's video because I have finally finished reading How to Be a Boss for the second time. I have to say, number one, I am not someone who reads a lot of books. I do enjoy reading books, but this was one of the books that genuinely I didn't want to put down, or at least I looked forward to reading. And those of you who know me know that I have a busy life. And it was one of those books that I genuinely took something away from every single chapter, and I have to give it to her. I fall in love with Lily day by day, more and more. So I would love to have the honor to meet her one day, because I think we would have an amazing conversation. But until then, I just, you know, can dream. But with that said, I wanted to do a quick review because I think you all should go read this book if you haven't already. What is wrong with you, girl? Today I'm gonna talk about How to Be a Boss. I'm gonna give you a slight review because I think this is a book that every single person should be reading this. It's a book that, number one, is easy on the eye. You know how you read a lot of books, whether the content is good or not, but your eyes sort of burn out because there's so much words after words after words, and it just gets, you know, you need to take a break. But this honestly is really easy on the eye. Number one, you'll see she's full of color, of course, so there's some really fun pictures of her, and then there's the text, and then she has her quotes. But one thing that I enjoyed mostly was, like, between some chapters she has like many exercises for you. So for instance, in one of her chapters she was talking about values and how if you're giving yourself a set of values, make sure you're committed to them, that they're not temporary values, they're permanent values, and they're not being treated like a part-time thing. If you're giving yourself a set of values, make sure you're consistent with them and you believe it, and you are, again, believing it no matter what the situation is. And then in that chapter she gave you a little exercise of asking us what your top 3 values are. And I really enjoy that because that kind of makes your mind, it's like a mini exercise for your mind, and it kind of gets you involved within the book. Like, you are literally talking to the book. So I didn't necessarily grab a pen and jot down the book, but I took a pause, and while I was reading it, I like closed my eyes and I was like, okay, so what are my 3 values? And then I just talked about it and I just thought about it. So it really is a book that really improves not only your mind, but like she says, it's a book on how to conquer life. For those of you who are aware of the law of attraction and have read the book The Secret, Lily, I feel like, takes that angle of the law of attraction and sort of enhances it by giving you real life situations, and she giving you real amazing example. I have to say, I really enjoyed her style of writing. She starts up by every chapter giving you a few paragraphs of an example, and then she takes it and then relates it to life. For instance, one of her chapters she talks about that life is like a Nintendo game. At first I was like, okay, she's just explaining how Mario works and how Luigi works and how you play the Nintendo game. You know, how you have a certain amount of lives left and how you have those little, what are they called, little turtles that come and attack you, or the little fireballs. But then she made an amazing valid connection to it, saying that in the game, the only thing that you can control is Mario. You can't control anything else. What comes ahead of you, that's something that you can control. Just like in life, whatever challenges are thrown at you in life, you can't control the challenges of coming to you, but what you can control is yourself. You can control how you react and how you handle a situation and how you recover and how you get back. that was one of the chapters that I enjoyed. And there was another one that's really stood out to me was, I mean, I could go on and on, but there was another one that stood out to me that was basically about being unapologetically yourself and just genuinely. I don't mean like being like selfie confident, like, oh hello, my picture. No, not even like hashtag no makeup picture confident. Like, she genuinely means be unapologetically yourself. And I think us females, in being in today's generation and in today's society and all that media and social media and all that jazz, we like sort of feel like the urge to live to a certain standard, to, you know, have a certain look and have a certain body type and have a certain makeup and certain like outfits. It's generally teaching you of how to be yourself and owning who you are. And there's nothing wrong in wanting to change for the better and improving and evolving, but still keeping the root of yourself raw. That was another thing that I loved about her. And last but not least, one thing that honestly again stood out to me was when she talked about how when she enters a room, she makes sure to give those people not only a handshake but introduce herself. Obviously she's not going to walk into Forever 21 and go to everyone and introduce herself, but in a work environment before starting the task, she introduces herself. And even though people may know her as Lily or Superwoman, the fact that she takes the time out and introduces herself really says a lot about her. But she's also someone who gives credit when credit is due. You know, a lot of her inspiration from giving those introduction and handshake was Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon is one of those two. But I think this is a book that is definitely a must read. I didn't do it justice for giving you a proper review. I feel like because there's so much awesomeness in this book that it genuinely tells you how to conquer life. Every time I finished a chapter, I felt so empowered, and I genuinely mean it. It's not a temporary feeling. That's the best part. Like, this book genuinely made a permanent change in me, and what I do from now on is all in my hands. It's something that I have to take on. But the fact that a book can do that to you says a lot about her, and I really can you hear that? I honestly feel like I didn't do justice by reviewing this book, because I feel like there's so much amazingness in this book that I can't cover in the video, but there's a lot of good things in this book, and I wish I could like make this a long video and talk about it. But this is a book that genuinely gives you a permanent motivation, a permanent good feeling. It's not anything temporary. It's not a book filled with quotes that you kind of feel like, oh, I'm gonna take over the world, and then tomorrow you're just like whatever. It's a book that, for me at least, really made a permanent change, and I enjoyed it. I really liked her style of writing. I think it was, for me, fun to read, because I'm not a reader, but this was one of the books that I enjoyed reading. And I really look forward to her hopefully writing another book or something of that sort, because I've been watching Lily for years now. It's amazing how she has grown into this amazing empire that she has. But she's still Lily. That's the beauty about Lily Singh, is that no matter how high she climbs that mountain, she is still Lily Singh. And that is the one thing that I adore and respect her. And I really hope one day I get to meet her. I'm putting it out there in the universe. I know I'm gonna meet her. But until then, I shall just dream, of course. But I really hope you guys read this book. It is an amazing book. If you have already read it, please comment down below and tell me what you guys thought about it, what you guys took away from the book, because I would love to read what other people think about it, because I know and I'm sure they have loved it like I have. With that said, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.